Swathi Priya, tutor, Department of Physiology, Sree Balaji Medical College and Hospital, Chennai. I have 5 years of teaching experience and 3 publications added to my credit. In this video, we will be seeing about physiology of autonomic nervous system. So at the end of the session, you will be able to learn the general classification of nervous system, difference between the somatic and autonomic, types of autonomic nervous system. Then we will see what is sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system and general functions. First we will see the general classification of nervous system. Our nervous system is put into central and then peripheral nervous system. So under central nervous system we have brain and spinal cord into action. In peripheral nervous system we have somatic nervous system and then autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is further classified into sympathetic and parasympathetic. So this is the general classification of the nervous system. Now we are moving on to the autonomic nervous system. It is an involuntary system. It controls all the vegetative functions of the body like controlling our heart rate, blood pressure, all our GI secretions, then lacrimal glands, sweat glands, all those secretions of those glands. It receives efference from the internal viscera, that is through pain sensations, and then it sends the efferent signals to the smooth muscle, cardiac muscle and all the glands of the body. Now we will see what are the major difference between the somatic and the autonomic nervous system. The somatic nervous system is voluntary in action, autonomic is involuntary in action. Somatic nervous system excites the muscle which it innervates, and autonomic nervous system has both inhibition and excitatory. Somatic nervous system, the neurotransmitter involved in it is acetylcholine, but in autonomic nervous system we have adrenaline and noradrenaline. Somatic nervous system supplies the skeletal muscle, autonomic nervous system supplies the cardiac muscle, smooth muscle and the glands. In somatic nervous system, we have one efferent coming out of the ventral root, but in autonomic nervous system, we have 2 efferent neurons involved in the pathway. In somatic nervous system, the efferent neuron has cell body in the dorsal root ganglion and terminate in the dorsal horn. But in the autonomic nervous system, we have efferent neuron terminating in the intermediolateral gray horn of the spinal cord. The interneurons have cell body in the dorsal horn in the somatic nervous system, but in the autonomic nervous system, the interneuron has cell body in the intermediolateral and it terminates in the autonomic ganglion. Now we will see what are the divisions of autonomic nervous system. We have sympathetic division and parasympathetic division. So our sympathetic division begins from the thoracolumbar, that is from the segments of thoracic and lumbar regions of the spinal cord, and parasympathetic has cranial and sacral divisions. Cranial nerves involved in it are oculomotor, facial nerve, glossopharyngeal and vagus nerve. First we will see about the sympathetic nervous system. So the central controlling part of the sympathetic nervous system will be posterior hypothalamus, and the peripheral nerves coming out of the spinal cord are through the lateral horn cells of the spinal cord. It has both preganglionic and postganglionic nerve fibers into action. Preganglionic fibers originate from the spinal cord at the level of T1 to L2 and terminate at the paravertebral ganglion, prevertebral ganglion and terminal ganglia. I have shown the picture of the sympathetic nervous system where the spinal cord, the segments of T1 to T2 till T1 to L2, we have fibers coming out and forming the sympathetic ganglia, and then the pre and post ganglionic fibers go and innervate the respective organs like eye, that is lacrimal glands, heart, then bronchioles, and then pylorus, that is stomach, adrenal medulla, kidneys, ureter, and the intestine, anal sphincters, and we also have supply to the blood vessels and also the sweat glands. This picture shows how preganglionic fibers synapse with the postganglionic fibers in the sympathetic nervous system. So if you see, preganglionic fibers are cholinergic, that is, they are going to release the acetylcholine in their synapse or the synaptic cleft, and then the postganglionic neurons are adrenergic. They have nicotinic acetylcholine receptors which takes up the signal and then it reaches the target organ and it releases the norepinephrine. The receptors present in the target organ are adrenergic. Preganglionic fibers are usually short and synapse with the postganglionic fibers. Acetylcholine is secreted by preganglionic nerves. Postganglionic fibers, it is present in the peripheral sympathetic ganglia. The axons are called postganglionic nerve fibers. So these axons are non-myelinated, they are very long and travel till the target organ through the blood vessels, through spinal nerves and innervate the target tissue. So these postganglionic fibers will supply eye, salivary glands, cardiovascular system, respiratory, gastrointestinal system, kidney, bladders, ureters, male and female reproductive systems. There is an exception in the adrenal medulla where the postganglionic fibers are converted into pheochromocytes. So here they release epinephrine and norepinephrine. So adrenal medulla is also a part of the sympathetic nervous system. The postganglionic fibers, those that supply the muscular blood vessels and sweat glands, are cholinergic. So this picture shows how the preganglionic neuron, that is cholinergic, it reaches the adrenal medulla and there it acts on the nicotinic cholinergic receptor and adrenal medulla releases the epinephrine and norepinephrine in the circulation, and through circulation those catecholamines are moving towards the target organ and carry out its action. This is the sympathetic outflow. We have the head ganglion of sympathetic nervous system, that is the posterior hypothalamus, and from there it reaches the lateral horn of spinal cord, thoracic and lumbar segments, and then sympathetic ganglion forms, and then through postganglionic fibers they reach the target organ. So this is the synaptic outflow. Mechanism of action is they exhibit a very quick and immediate response in the body, and also it is very massive with the help of adrenal medulla, that is adrenal medulla releases catecholamines and they reach the other organs of the body through circulation and carry out the action, that is the fight or flight reaction. So this happens through three types of receptors: alpha, beta and dopaminergic receptors. Alpha is further divided into alpha 1 and alpha 2 receptors, beta is further divided into beta 1 and beta 2 receptors, and dopaminergic receptors are of two types, D1 and D2 receptors. Now we will see what is fight or flight reaction. So this reaction takes place through limbic, hypothalamus and sympathetic axis. That is, from the limbic the signal goes to hypothalamus and then it signals the sympathetic nervous system. So this fight or flight reaction increases our heart rate, blood pressure, increases the blood flow to the tissues, it causes bronchodilation and increases ventilation in our respiratory system, it causes contraction of the spleen and releases the blood cells from the spleen so that more oxygen is received by the tissues, it increases sweating to dissipate heat from our body, it increases glucose and free fatty acids, and insulin secretion is decreased in this. It dilates our pupil, it acts on the reticular activity and makes us aware and conscious in that situation. It also causes cutaneous vasoconstriction. So these are the reactions or changes taking place in our body in the fight and flight reaction, which is mediated by the sympathetic nervous system. Next we will move on to the parasympathetic nervous system. So the head ganglion is in the region of anterior hypothalamus. It has efferent and efferent fibers. Efferent fibers are involved in the change and pressure and volume changes in the viscera, and efferent fibers are involved in the secretory motor functions. So this is the parasympathetic fibers outflow. So it is of two divisions. We have cranial division and we have sacral division. So from the cerebral cortex, the signals reach the anterior hypothalamus, and anterior hypothalamus influence both of the divisions, cranial and the sacral divisions. Cranial divisions, we have cranial nerves involved, which are oculomotor, facial, glossopharyngeal and vagus nerve. And in the sacral divisions, the neurons originate from the lateral gray horn of sacral segments. And they reach the peripheral ganglia, and then postganglionic fibers innervate the target organ. So this is the parasympathetic outflow. This picture shows the different divisions, that is the cranial divisions and sacral divisions of the parasympathetic system, and how they innervate the different organs of the body. First we will see about the cranial division. The pre and postganglionic fibers are present in the cranial division. The preganglionic neurons have their nucleus in the Edinga-Westphal nucleus, superior salivary and inferior salivary nucleus, and dorsal nucleus and nucleus ambiguous of the vagus. So these are the nucleus of the preganglionic fibers. The postganglionic neurons are through oculomotor nerve and reach the and causes pupillary constriction and innervates the ciliary muscle of the eye, and that is seventh cranial nerve, that is facial nerve. They innervate the lacrimal and salivary glands, especially the submaxillary and sublingual glands. Glossopharyngeal, they innervate the parotid gland, and vagus nerve innervates the cardiovascular, respiratory, gastrointestinal till the transverse colon. So this is about the postganglionic neurons of the cranial divisions of parasympathetic system. Now we are moving on to the sacral divisions of the parasympathetic system. Preganglionic neurons are present in the anterior horn of the sacral segments and join the pelvic nerve. The postganglionic neurons are present near the target organ itself, that is their axons are going to be very short, so it supplies the descending colon. So till transverse colon we have the innervation of the cranial nerve, cranial divisions of the parasympathetic nerve. Now the sacral divisions are from descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum, urinary bladder, male and female reproductive organs. Next we will see the mechanism of action of peripheral nervous system. Preganglionic neurons in the peripheral nervous system are longer and postganglionic neurons are shorter, and they are present almost near the target organ itself. It acts through the neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. Acetylcholine acts through two types of receptors. One is muscarinic receptor and the other one is nicotinic receptor. Muscarinic receptors are of two types, M1, M2, and nicotinic receptors are of two types, N1 and N2. Now we will see what are the major differences between the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system originates from the thoracolumbar segments. Parasympathetic nervous system originates from the craniosacral segments. Sympathetic nervous system has shorter preganglionic fibers and longer postganglionic fibers. But parasympathetic system, it is the other way. The preganglionic fibers are very long and the postganglionic are very short. Sympathetic response is diverse in action because all the catecholamines and all the secretions are released in the bloodstream and then they reach the target organ. So the response is very diverse in the body. But in the parasympathetic nervous system, it is a local response because the target organ is almost near the postganglionic fibers and it releases the neurotransmitter and causes a very local action. Sympathetic nervous system is catabolic in action, parasympathetic nervous system is anabolic in action. It causes stressful conditions and it also helps in fight or flight reaction in the body. Norepinephrine is the postganglionic neurotransmitter in the sympathetic nervous system. Acetylcholine is the postganglionic neurotransmitter in the parasympathetic nervous system. So this is the major difference between the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Now we will see the control over the enteric nervous system. Enteric nervous system is the nervous supply to the gastrointestinal tract. It is through the myenteric plexus and Meissner's plexus. So both these plexus are influenced by the autonomic nervous system. So they alter the blood flow in these plexus, they help in the glandular secretions, they are involved in the peristaltic action and villi movements of the smooth muscles of the gastrointestinal tract. Now we will see the functions, that is the general functions of the autonomic nervous system. So it is involved in the vegetative function, that is it controls our heart, respiration, and then the visceral and sexual reflexes. It is involved in homeostasis, that is it maintains homeostasis. It controls stressful management and it is involved in the emotional control of our body. It controls our respiration, it regulates our body temperature, and it is involved in metabolic reactions. And finally, the most important one is fight or flight reaction. So all these are the general functions of the autonomic nervous system. These are my references, and now we have come to the end of this video. In this video, we have seen about the sympathetic and parasympathetic division, that is the physiology of autonomic nervous system, how sympathetic nervous system carries out its functions and how parasympathetic nervous system carries out its function. And now we have seen the general functions of the autonomic nervous system also. Hope this video is very useful for you all. See you soon in a next video. Thank you.